episode of The Shannon Show, episode number 9. And this is the best military kid podcast on the internet. I'm pretty sure it's the only one, too. But yeah, I'm taking that title. I'm going to need all you guys to subscribe to the channel. It's the best content. It's The Shannon Show. And you need to follow us on Instagram at The Shannon Show. And this week's guest is a friend of mine, Makaela Hennigan. Makaela, how are you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm doing well. We're living. We're thriving. I'm not sick, so we're doing pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm so happy to have you on the show. This is sweet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I just want to get a little background on you, just some things that you've been doing as a military kid, because this is the best military kid podcast on the internet. Something I like to ask all my guests, could you tell me about all the places you've lived, or just where?
All right, so we were pretty lucky. We got 2 long duty stations. So I was born and raised in Hawaii for 6 years. It's a rough life, I know. Then we went to California for 6 years. So, we were hitting the coasts. And we had, yeah, I know. Like I said, tough life. Headed to Virginia for 3, then Japan and Oki for 3, and now we're back here. I live in Blacksburg now in Virginia. So.
Virginia Tech.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
So you were pretty much on the beach all the time, except for Virginia. You got lucky.
Yeah, beaches here are not really as cool. They're kind of cold. Yeah. Not really about that life.
They have some ponds.
Yeah, exactly.
So which of the places did you like the least?
Oh, the least? Okay, people hate when I say this, but California.
Oh,
California wasn't my thing, only because when you go from Hawaii to California, it's just not fair. So it's just not a fair comparison, in my opinion.
Was it a tough transition?
The first time I would say so, yeah. I mean, I was pretty young. So I don't think it had as big of an impact on me as later moves did, but it was definitely hard, leaving my home. But that's kind of one thing about being in the military is I feel like you pick up a lot of different homes along the way, and it's always nice to move to a new community. So
what do you consider to be? This is always a tough question for military kids, but what do you consider to be your home? Like,
it's my favorite.
Like one.
Bring that back. Which we ran into this problem this past year with seniors and finding out where are you from in the yearbook.
Yes.
We all just kind of sat there and we're like, what do you mean? And there were like 4 different answers.
Are they stupid?
Trees and but home, I think for me at least. Oh gosh, that's terrible. Now I don't even know what to say. My home I would actually classify as Hawaii. Because that's really where that's where I'm from. But I think Japan definitely had the biggest impact on my life, and I miss it the most for sure.
Yeah, I remember like at Kubi, like for all the Far East sports, they'd always ask you for your hometown. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like,
Who do you think you're talking to?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so bad. So I want to talk about just a little bit about what you're doing now. So you said you're at Virginia Tech.
Yep.
What's your major?
My major, my major is Environmental Policy and Planning, which is a big mouthful, EPP. It's under Urban Affairs, and so what I'm doing right now, at least this year, is looking at policy administration on the urban and public level, and then also looking at environmental impacts. And so it's just really bringing together legislation and environmental. So it'd be heading into environmental law, any engineering and whatnot as well. And so it's just a really firm foundation on just the governmental side of environment. So it's pretty neat. I wasn't too sure about it when I got here. I'll be honest, when I applied, I was like, this is what I'm doing with my life. And then a month later, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life? And so it was scary. Yeah, it was a little scary because I think this was the only school where I didn't go undecided because this was the first one I applied to. And so then after that, I realized I was like, that was the most stupid thing I've ever done. And so luckily, though, it all seemed to work out. I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm not taking any math classes, so life is great. I love it here. No issues. I will not be saying that for the next 3 years after this, but this year is great.
Yeah, that sounds great, honestly. I know you got into a lot of the environment stuff in Okinawa, right?
Yeah.
And that was through I know your JSHS project was very centered around that. Did you do that your senior year as well?
Actually, no. I kind of switched it up. No, actually, not at all.
Not at all.
Different route my senior year. I had wanted to. I am really big on having these amazing and great ideas and then having no follow through. And so I rendition number 1 of my project had to do with growing coral, new ecosystems, and using 3D printed plastic. And it would have been the coolest thing ever if I had found any reasonable way of following through with it, but that didn't exist. And so then I kind of had to switch a little, and I did. Yeah, it was a little interesting. I actually looked more on like the statistical side and with kind of like economics view on military kids. So for your Best Military Kids podcast,
Yeah, the only one.
I looked at the way that military kids see themselves in the careers that we kind of subconsciously envision ourselves in the future. And so saying that if your parents are really successful, you kind of are raised and conditioned to see yourself in a really successful job in the future. And so I did more research and look into that, and then compared it across the board with essentially all the kids who participated in Kubasaki. And so it was like some 600 kids. So it was definitely a little different environment.
Yeah, so what did you find from that? You said that a lot of kids, what do you mean by they wanted to follow their parents?
Yeah, so it's more of saying like, when you ask kids what they want to be when they grow up, and they'll give you these, really cute but like backwards ideas of what they want to do. And so it was doing the same thing but asking high school students and saying, how realistic do you think, your goals are? Where do you think you're going to be in life? What are the markers? Where do you want to achieve? And comparing that, then I asked them about their parents and their parents' history and whatnot. And I was trying to figure out if, we really do have these ideas that are molded from our parents' lives. And so are we living, we're trying to live replicas of our parents subconsciously, even if we say, I hate my parents and all this, but actually model our lives after them in a way. And from what I found, just from my 600 people, survey, was that was true. And so we have, kids who will tend to follow after their parents' paths. And what I really wanted to do was in the future, look and compare this to different like school systems, because being in the military, especially being in Japan, and in high school, your parents have to be within, a certain rank for you to live there in high school again. And so it was looking at, these parents have careers rather than jobs. And so I wanted to be able to test it with more like stateside and public school, but that whole thing of no follow through, and here we are. So.
Yeah, that's interesting stuff. Because I do feel like military kids, there's maybe a little more subconscious pressure just from the lifestyle that they live, and you're always moving around with your parents, and you're just like, it's all about your parents' careers whenever you're a military kid. You're just going around following that. So it's like you have to then take your dreams and they have to like come together real quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really interesting. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
It's a lot different in the environment, but yeah. It's good to hear.
Yeah.
So something that I ran into whenever I came back to the States is whenever I came here directly from Japan, just like you did. Obviously, you knew. But someone comes up to you, they're like, hey, where are you from? Makaela, what's your answer right off the spot? Japan. And their reaction is,
oh my God, that is so cool. And I'm like, oh yeah, but it's like at that point too, where like at first it was like, well, I'm from Japan, and now it's like I'm from.
I know.
I'm out of state.
Yeah, it's like it's slowly spread.
They're like, oh, where at? And I was like, oh, here and there, and so it's like it's got to a point where like, I don't want to say anything because then the question I have to respond with is, well, where are you from? And they're like,
yeah, I know.
I'm like, I'm sorry.
It's
and
it's like you feel bad asking.
I'm not trying to make people feel bad. I just don't know where to go with that. And so I'll try to avoid that question. I'm like, yeah, crazy transition. The time zone, incredible. And I'm like, I just don't know where to go.
Exactly. And there's like layers to it. They're like, someone asked me, they said, so you're basically living Tokyo Drift. And I said, no.
Oh my gosh, I have a new, actually disliking for that film solely because I'm like, I know you couldn't drive like that as soon as you got there. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest frustration. But yeah, I try, there's different people, I kind of can categorize people in what the questions they ask as a follow-up. And I met these guys one night, twins actually, and their parents are truly, they are Japanese, they are from Japan, unlike fake Japanese me. And they asked, they're like, oh, where are you from? And I was like, oh, Japan. And they started going off in Japanese, and I was like, not that Japan, not that Japan, not much. And so then, I got that going over. Then at the same time, I had people who they'll ask me, how much Japanese I speak. And then, what is it? I have the most random questions come up. And I just I don't know. I feel like a circus show. And it's sometimes, but at the same time, I'm I just want to say Alexandria, but I'm sorry. Right, Alexandria.
Do it.
So boring. I can't. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not saying I fiend for the attention, but it's not disappreciated.
Yeah, it's tough. And you didn't take Japanese in Japan.
No,
No.
not
Yeah. So I take 3 years of it.
stop maybe, and that's it. That's it.
Yes, I took like a few years. So like when people ask me if I know any Japanese, I'm like, yeah, a little bit. And then like an actual Japanese person, I just get embarrassed.
I'm scared of that. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you have to explain to them that you didn't live. They don't even know Okinawa is a thing. They just,
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it's actually an island pretty far away from the rest. It's a
Yes.
funny
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then like people will get confused too when I was like, well, we lived on an island. They're like, yeah, Japan. I was like, no, there's some.
Well,
I had somebody who tell me that I didn't live in Japan because it wasn't on. I was like, no, 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 I swear, I swear.
I promise.
Sure.
I was there.
Yeah. There's some people who do know what Okinawa is because I have to show you my Crocs. I have
Please
Jibbitz
do.
Okinawa, all right? And I wear these with pride. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing.
This is the first time on the Shannon show.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow, that is great.
They're pretty dope, okay?
I mean, the color with what do you call the things that go in the hole?
Got my
Yeah, I
little-
mean, I know those. I meant the just things in general. I love
my
Okinawa.
Jibbitz,
Wow,
yes. And I've got
Jibbitz?
soba, Jibbitz.
That's the
Jibbitz.
word. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I've got some dim sum soba. I've got I love Okinawa, and I just got some little designs on here. And I was on the elevator, and a guy looked down. He's like, Okinawa, no way, in Japan? And I didn't even know what to do. I was like, yeah. How did you know that?
Yes.
And I forget that some people like know history because I'm not one of those people. And he's like, oh, I know all about it. And he's like asking me questions. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on right now, and I'm from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Jibbitz definitely bring about conversation. So
Great Jibbitz. I love that word. That's great. So I have a little game that we're gonna play. I haven't done one of these since Carolina's episode. That was a while back. That was episode 3. But it's called, I don't even know if I can find it. Yes, it's gonna be called Name That Mac. Do you go by Mac? I feel like.
Yeah. Mac
Yes.
works.
Okay. I don't know. I've never
He's
called
over
you
here,
that.
Mac Attack, whatever you
I
want.
guess we're not on that level.
It's getting there.
So I have 7 different words, and they each contain Mac within the word. And I'm going to give you hints, and you're going to tell me what the word is. And if you get them all right, then I'm going to be doing a merch giveaway. So like, just don't let the fans down.
I'm so sorry, fans. Listen,
So you're going to apologize in advance.
listening.
It's not hard. I promise. You'll get the first 2, I think.
Okay.
All right. Just let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready when you are.
Ready when I am. Ready when you are. I was going to time you, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to be polite. See, I'm like a person. Yes. All right. This mac is a dry pasta shaped like a narrow tube. Usually takes like 9 to 12 minutes to cook.
Macaroni.
Macaroni in a pot. Yes.
That's one of my nicknames. Okay, I got that one. We're good.
Macaroni pot. Okay, number 2. This is the name of the laptops made by the company Apple.
Mac. Just MacBook.
Yes, there you go.
Okay.
I'm gonna put like a ding sound effect for every time you get one right. It's just so.
Maybe like a big
There you
bell, actually. Like we gotta hype it up.
Oh, a little. Okay. All right. This is a nut that goes great in a cookie, and they're indigenous to Australia.
Macadamia nut.
There we go. That's 3 in a row. 3 in a row. You're getting hot in the bubble. Yes.
Absolutely. Funny story about that. So as a Catholic, we had to pick our confirmation saints, right?
Yes.
And I was like, for the longest time, the only one that I could think of was a man who I thought went by the name Macadamia Nut. I was like, I want to be Saint Macadamia Nut. Turns out his name was Damien. It's kind of a letdown, but my entire childhood until 8th grade thought his name was Saint Macadamia Nut. So
that's I would have wanted to pick him as well.
Right? Exactly. Yeah. Kind of went down the cool factor.
Good reasoning.
So.
Okay. Next one. This is a rapper from Seattle. He is known for his hit song "Thrift Shop."
Macklemore.
Yes, that is 4. Were you worried for a second? Next, this French dessert is a sweet meringue confection with egg white, icing sugar, and food coloring.
Macaroon.
Yes, there's only 2 left. There's only 2 left.
I've never actually had one. It's just terrible. So.
Me neither. I don't know it yet. All right, number 6. This is a very common fish found in both temperate and tropical seas. They are grayish blue. It's you got this.
Oh, how many guesses do I? What if I get it wrong? Can I guess again?
I'll give you like a pass. Yeah, maybe. Okay. I wish we had a phone a friend feature. That would make this show like way more interesting.
I can get my hallmates. They're.
No, I feel free. I mean, we can cut right through.
Okay, mackerel.
Yes, that is correct. Wow, what do you mean you don't need no hallmates?
You never
That's
know.
6 down. You only have one more.
Emotional support.
Emotional support. That's true. That's true. All right, last one. You told me you weren't good at this. This is the study of the overall aspects and workings of a national economy.
Macroeconomics.
Wow, that is 7 for 7. It looks like we're gonna be giving away some merch. That is great. That is. I have to make these games way harder. Carolina won like super easy too.
No, this is
No,
perfect.
I guess I think you guys are like, I don't know, I'm not
It's
capable.
okay. Look, you know what? If people get merch, give the people what they want. It's cool.
Honestly, yes, get your own merch, by the way, everybody. Go get your own merch. Jeez, or I can give you some for free. We're not gonna have to do that. Yeah, congratulations. Thank you, Makaela, for playing. Name that Mac. I'm gonna have to make a logo for it, put it on there too. I'm not like setting myself up. I'm way too lazy for like saying all these things. So let's talk a little bit more about Okinawa. This is where I met you. Sorry, I probably should have said that at the very beginning. You were a part of the Kubasaki Track team. So let's talk a little bit about that. What year did you get started, and what events did you participate in?
So track, I actually started before high school. I was running, I started 7th grade, and I've been running on track ever since. I started as a long distance runner because apparently I hated myself. Shout out to long distance runners. You guys are pretty cool. I could never. Running in circles is not my forte. I lose count. So, but anyways, started as distance, then finishing up my senior year, though we didn't have any meets. I ran 100-meter high hurdles, 300-meter low hurdles, through shot put, through discus, and then I was doing some work with a.
You did all the cool stuff.
I know that because I also did relays. I did the 4x100-meter relay, and I was starting to work on the 100-meter sprint for some unknown reason. Oh, and they made me run the 400-meter. Sorry, that was the most.
That's gross. Yeah.
It was terrible. I would have rather run actually with those distance kids I just put out there than do the 400 again. Sorry.
Yeah, honestly, the kids who run distance, I think there's something like they're built different.
They are built different. Like yeah, absolutely.
Mentally. So, what trips did you go on for track?
So my sophomore year, when I got to Japan, I went to Taiwan. Then we went to mainland Japan. We competed in Yokota my sophomore year. Same thing for junior year, only we didn't go to Taiwan, so we just went to mainland. And then we didn't have a meet senior year, so in my heart, I went in spirit, but that was it was Taiwan and Japan.
Which trip did any of the trips like stand out to you in particular? Like any?
Just within track, I love Taiwan. It was a lot of fun. It was an invitational meet with Taipei American School, so that was really cool. I still have a shirt. I like bringing my Japanese shirts and repping them around. And I'm like,
me too.
Okay, and I've got like the logos on the back, so I just happened to wear my hair up, and I'm like, oh, me at the gym. I'm like, yeah, just weightlift. But yeah, I think Taiwan was a ton of fun. I actually have pictures up on my little wall from Taiwan. Then I Far East my junior year was a trip. Like it was a trip. They put us in log cabins. We were 2 hours from the meet. Yeah. Yes.
Did you have to run to the meet?
Okay. Essentially. Yes. No. So the guys, they lived right in the towers, right by the track. You can essentially see the track from like the towers where they would put you in Yokota. Were you able ever to go to? I went
to Tokyo. Yeah, I went to mainland.
Yeah, I think I can't even. It's been like 5 months. I don't even remember where I was, but the boys were really close. It was like maybe at max an 11-minute drive. I'll give you the 11, okay?
Okay.
And for us, at the shortest, it was at least an hour and a half from these cabins where you could do equestrian by the cabins. We were so far out. We were competing by Tokyo. We were in equestrian cabins. So
wait, so the girls were were at the cabins.
Yep, and the
boys were in the 11-minute drive. Okay.
Yep. And it was super cool. So that was interesting. And then we slept on a gym floor for the last night while the boys are still in their beds in the towers, because they wanted to separate guys and girls, because the year prior we had done a Far East wide manhunt, and I guess that wasn't really appreciated when it was all of the high schoolers running around in Yokota.
That's a lot of kids, especially for track.
Yeah, I don't even know how these people had so much energy. I was like, how are you running? It was literally our last day. Yeah. I just wanted to go to sleep. So, but yeah, they split us, so that was interesting. So I think for the actual enjoyment of the trip, Taiwan was my favorite. For essentially just the meme to look back on it, definitely last Far East.
Okay, so let's move on. That's a good story. The other sport you participated in, did you volleyball?
Yes.
Were those the only two?
Yeah, actually.
Yes. Okay.
Here, and I did cross country my sophomore year here as well, or in Japan as well. But yes, volleyball was the one.
So how did you get started playing volleyball?
So I actually had Hogen as a PE coach at first. So I got to know him through that way, just a little bit, like the awkward, like silence moments where we just stare each other right in the eyes, looked at my soul. That's actually how I met him. We were standing there and he just stared at me and I didn't move. And it was the scariest thing ever. And then he just started laughing at me. So that was, the most uncomfortable situation I had been in that entire year.
So sorry.
It worked out though, So I kind of fell in with a little friend group that was actually just the volleyball girls, through one or two other people. And so I got to know them. They seemed like they were having fun, for the most part. It's a volleyball team, so you can only have so much fun. But then I looked at the sport, I actually started looking at it after cross country, and I realized that volleyball was probably the only sport that I had not played, and I also knew that I was going to suck at. And so I said, that's the one. This will be bad.
You want to set yourself up for failure.
I accept, and I started volleyball. So yeah, it was really because I knew it was going to be really difficult, and I wanted to be able to beat that.
And you won a Far East championship. Yes,
I was a part of that. I more on the second-hand part of it, but yeah, I was there for my junior year. We won Far East, and then senior year, we were second. So it was a lot of fun. It was really neat.
Wow, yeah. So what was that? What were those trips like? I know that must have been a little bit different with just the volleyball team. I know you're laughing already. I can't. Every single time I ask one of the volleyball girls about the trips, they're just
Well, for starters, there's never any off time. Just as soon as you get on the bus to leave the school, actually, as soon as you're leaving school, Hogan's got like a hacky sack at all times. And if he throws it to you and you don't catch it, push-ups on the spot, down, get them done, proper form.
What?
Yes, we literally.
This is a joke?
Yeah, and like on trains, in the middle of the airport with your bag. I was holding 3 bags and he threw one at me and I just looked at him and he was like, oh, what the heck? And so, it's dedication. Like, you have to be on your game. Like, there's no sleeping. There is no eating. No. You be ready for that hacky sack at any time. So that was, just from the start, it was literally always working out. But it was early mornings, get up and practice before tournament. And then sometimes a practice or two after, and then it was a early morning, late evening. But we had so much fun. Loved Korea was fun. We got to go out in town at one point and look around. We got to eat bulgogi, which was amazing.
Only at one point?
Yeah, at one point, yes, because all the other times we were practicing. And so like at one point we were up at 6 a.m. and we didn't have a game until I think like 9 or 10, but we had to get the pre-game practice before our game. And so we literally pre-gamed, but not in the sense that everybody else would. Like, we literally practiced to pre-game.
Yeah, everyone else on those trips, pre-game's a little different, I think.
Yes, they do. So, but yeah, like I said, it was always got to be on top of your game, but it was a lot of fun. And you always we grew really close after those trips, whether you wanted to or not.
Yes, I hear you on that. Yeah, that's good. If anyone else wants to hear more volleyball stuff, I interviewed Ari last week. She had a lot to say about that too. Always great talking to her. How was she as a manager, by the way? I'm not familiar with.
No, she was great. She was so great. She was always on top of it, and she always kept me on top because I would feel bad if I didn't say thank you. And so I think I would say thank you at least 300, 400 times in a practice at that point, because you have to get so many reps. And it got to a point where there was actually a running joke on the team about how many times and how I would say thank you. And because I was like, I'm sorry, but this sucks. I was like, I would not want to be you, because Hogen has no mercy, essentially, no matter who you are. I'm sure they have their little cliques, but I was one time when we were practicing and Hogan's like, well, I'll show you how to do it. He's like, my favorite sentence, do what I do. Do what I do. And so he goes up and he hits the ball and boom, there goes Ari's face right at the ball.
He hit Ari?
Yeah. Yeah. And and she went to the nurse, and then later came back, and they had little words, and I think he was definitely conscious of his surroundings every time he went up to say, "Do what I do" from there on out.
Oh my
But no,
God.
she was great though. She was
I never
super
heard that
great.
story.
Yeah, it was bad. There were so many times when I would get hit in the face. I wasn't even on the same like court as him, and I was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "This is like targeted like at me anymore."
Yeah, this is not okay.
Oh yeah, no,
Please
but
draw a line.
yeah. Well, he is the coach, so he
No,
probably
not with him. Yeah, not with him.
no line, no line.
He always scared me too. I couldn't imagine having to be with him after school every day.
Yeah,
And
I
it's like,
think, for practice, it was always like the hardest statement is when he would look at you and he would like kind of stop and he was like, "I know you're better than this. So what's going on? What's how come it's not working?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he just has crying. It's the
stop
soul.
asking hard questions.
Yeah, I know. And it was like, I don't even know how I'm supposed to answer that. And so it got to a point like if a girl didn't cry once a week, then you weren't practicing hard enough. You know, it was like the commitment that team put in, immaculate, astronomical, all those big words. Yeah, it was amazing. So yeah, no, we worked for our spot for sure, but it was a fun time. Lots of laughs. We had a lot of laughs, you know.
Next, I have the questions that people sent us on Instagram.
Okay. I'm a little nervous.
Our fans, they're not bad. They're not bad. We'll start with Juliet. She says, "Tell her I miss her." Like, does she think this is good video content? Like, what is this?
Kisses for Juliet.
Is this like a conversation? Like, do you just want to host the show, Juliet? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, feel free to text me at any time. I'm here.
Yeah. Next question. It's not even a question. I asked for questions. Read the directions. Next from Cariana, she asked, "How do your first days at a new school go?"
Ooh.
I'll answer this too when you're done.
Yeah. So, difference in high school and I'd say difference in college for sure.
Yeah.
College, it's kind of nice as a freshman because everybody's just about as lost as you are, which is really cool. I would say less like social anxiety of like being a freshman in high school actually, just because it was like we've transitioned now enough amount of times where it becomes more comfortable. I was still nervous beyond compare though, no doubt about it. But it was a fact that I had moved in a few days prior and now I was kind of like my life was now here and I had to adjust no matter what. Plus I live right next to the dining hall, so if things ever get that bad, I just eat right over there and we're cool. Everything is great. But people here are really cool, so adjustment hasn't been bad.
Yeah, I would agree. Going to college is not. Yeah, I mean it's not easy, but like everyone's coming from different places. Even if it's 20 minutes down the road, like everyone's new to each other at least in some aspect. Going to a new high school, I think it depends. If it's like if it's like on-base high school, I don't think it's usually fine. Like it's usually pretty accepting, like very transition friendly.
Mm-hmm. That was what definitely appreciated about living on base and going to school because I had never gone to school on base or lived on one. So I like the fact that everybody transitioned out so frequently, and I it was kind of nice because I didn't feel like I was the one kid who was out of place.
Yeah.
It was pretty nice, but again, I kind of feel similar here, except the fact that I'm from Japan. So as long as I don't bring that up, then I feel normal as everybody else.
Yeah, it's tough. I think you just have to remind yourself to get out there a little bit whenever you go to a new place.
Yep.
Which can be difficult because it's like so easy to just like kind of shield off a little bit, but you just have to do it. I mean, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid, except it's your entire life forever. It's not forever.
Upstairs on the 6th floor, I live on 4. There's 7 floors, and I go up and I brought to college specifically a cookie pan and cookie dough.
No way.
Friendship cookies, and I do it like twice a week now. I have a fan base. I just known people don't know my name. It's Cookie Girl.
Cookie Girl.
Explore.
Okay, that might not be.
Friends will come. Yeah, I don't know, but friends of friends will come up. And at one point, I remember I was sitting there and I had one friend, and all of a sudden 9 guys walk around and they're like, "Hey!" And I'm like, "Oh my god!" So, you got to get out there even in the littlest ways. And so I think I know more people on the 7th floor than I do on my own floor because Cookie Girl has cookies there. So
even it's something like cookies, are they macadamia?
Unfortunately not.
Come on, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
No, I gotta get my life together.
Jeez.
One thing at a time.
So I hope that answered the question. Next, Alex Saber. he said, "How's life treating you?" Which I guess we just talked about a lot. It's last time he said, "How's life?" and now he really stepped it up there with the
Yeah.
treating us.
Thank you. It's treating me pretty well. Like I said, I wake up every morning and I'm thankful that I'm not sick and I'm here. I'm not at home, you know, in all seriousness. Yeah. So I'm here because we have people up and down my hall. So my hall is it's co-ed, I guess you could call it that. Guys and girls are both on the same floor. My neighbors are guys to the right and the left, actually. And so it's like, you know, there are a whole ton of mix of people with all these different friend groups. So sometimes it's a little like worrisome just living on campus right now, especially here where we have so many mixed different groups of people. And so like our one of the guys 3 doors down is the first case on our floor that was confirmed positive. We've had
wow.
we've had like little, okay, so the way that they'll do it here at school is you have different options for how you want to get tested. And if you have symptoms, then it doesn't matter if, you know, you actually end up coming out as negative or positive, you have to go into the quarantine dorms. So they'll put you in a dorm for, you know, up to 2 weeks, if need be, even if you're negative. So it's a little scary. And we've had about 8 or 9 people that have had to leave and go to the dorms. Across the hall right here, a girl went home for the semester because she doesn't even want to work with it. And so, yeah, we've had people go home, but we just got the first official case on our floor at least. So it's a little worrisome, but again, that's why I wake up every day, and I'm thankful that I'm not sick, thankful that I'm in class, and I got to go to practice. I'm working on a club volleyball team, hopefully.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm happy to be here, like quite literally.
Yeah. Stay safe, kids.
Absolutely.
Don't do drugs either. Nope, none of. Next one is from Johnny, and I think we have a lot to talk about here. He asked for our favorite memory from Coia Club. I don't even know where to start. Exactly. I'm just going to throw out like 1 or 2 from myself personally. I loved it. Remember Mr. Coia? He would just randomly call on Julian. Do you remember this?
Oh, Julian.
Oh, my God.
He was in my senior year, an AP Gov with me. I had Coia for the next 3 years.
Really? I didn't have him again.
I had him my sophomore, junior, and twice my senior year. And I had him also for seminar for my last 2 years.
Wow.
So I had to, like, literally every morning I wake up and see Ronnie C. Like, that was my schedule. Yeah. So, that Julian jokes didn't stop. They didn't stop.
They didn't stop?
No, even in Gov, like, and we had less people than we did in our sophomore class. And so sometimes it was even worse if he didn't know, because we would just like sit there and nobody knew, and it was just
You just calling Julian. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Do you remember Byron and his phone? There was like something with his phone too. He had his flip phone.
And Byron pulled out his phone. He was like, "No, Byron, put that away."
He like apologized.
Yeah, no, Byron's like a fever dream. For some reason, I forgot that he was in our class for like a year. And as soon as you bring up his name, I was like, "Oh, Byron." I don't know where he went.
Me neither. I have no idea. I hope he's a fan of the show.
No, I lived for the awkward moments in Coia Club, and it was like they were really painful to be in at the time. But now when you look back, you can kind of laugh. And I was like, we're not going to put names out, but when 2 people in our class were no longer dating, and
oh my gosh,
it was like my favorite couple, and he was siding with one of them, and then we all just sat there because it would just happened. They had just broken up, and we're like, "Oh, Mr. Coia," and he just kind of looked at us, and he was laughing to himself. He just thought it was a funny thing. He just stood there and looked around, and he like for a good 5 seconds was like,
I totally forgot about that.
He's like, "I did that." And then he's like, "What?" And we're like, "They're not together anymore." They were sitting, like, I think they were sitting at different tables, and both of them were just like, "Oh, God, that one hurt. That one hurt." Man. That's something like if Ronnie and I got into an argument, I was like, "Well, it's like that one time when you said that." Yeah. And that's what I would use. Oh, God.
Yeah. We have like the Big Tale of Two Cities book like above his door, right? And I wrote like my name. I wrote my spam username on there. It's like 30 characters long.
To say about that. Every time he looks up, he's like, "Oh, Shannon." He's like, "It's my wall, and look what he did to it." He's like, "I wish he had done that." And I was like, "Shannon, no. Yeah."
He hates it. I remember the second I did it because we did it like the chalk pen or something. Yep. And I turn around and I like make eye contact with him, and he was just like, "What have you done?" Like you can't erase it. Like it's.
Wasn't it? Other than the bricks, that was like the first thing up on his wall.
Yeah.
And
I'm not on it anywhere else. That's it.
I know, right? Yeah. No, there's more on the wall now. people got their bricks. I actually need to have somebody paint my brick because I finally made it in life to the Coia wall, the wall of fame. You know, that's another good memory is when Mr. Wooten was our
yes, some of the best memories are from Mr. Wooten. He's not even Mr. Koya.
And it was literally only the first week of the school. Like, I don't know, that probably doesn't say a lot.
Yeah.
But when he wrote the 6, and I just remember when Coia came back in and was fuming, he's like, my wall. It was like he had hurt the kid. He was like, my wall. So I made the wall, and I'm very proud. So
that is good.
Made it somewhere in life, I guess.
Yeah, Mr. Wooten, he also like broke down a Coca-Cola commercial for us. Yes. I'm not sure if you remember that. That was one of the funniest things ever. It's like they're about to have sex in a public library.
Yes, he's like, good. Break into places, jump fences.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Good man. You know, never really saw him again after. Because once he and Mrs. Wooten had their baby, he was kind of taking care of little dude. And so,
boo.
I want to say it was. And so then after that, yeah, he didn't really come around as much. And I was like, why am I at this school? What am I here for? There's no reason.
You were here for him?
The baby. Nobody brought the baby.
Oh, the baby. It was for the baby.
I was like, what use are you people?
I remember like showing up to Koi's class early, like multiple times, and you were in there hanging out with the baby.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess she doesn't have other friends.
Oh God, I missed that kid. They have no idea who I am. I'm sure.
Yeah,
but you know,
tough. You spent so much time with them.
I know, it's alright. It's a hard life.
It's not out yet. Well, it will be out by the time people see this. But Sammy's episode, we covered his romance with Miss Wooten. So yeah, he loved talking about it. You know, he's really big on that.
We were junior year. We were Spanish 4, so I got front row seats. Yep.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm actually so sorry. Like I saw it in only small chunks, and I'm like.
It was okay, intimate is probably not the word I want to
use.
No,
wrong word. He thought it was.
Yes. Yeah. We had to do a tango lesson one time. Or no, it wasn't tango. We were
salsa.
Salsa, yeah.
He still talks about that to this day. To this day he talks about that.
It was just the fact that he refused to dance with me and he went over to Miss Wooten. And I was I know. Wow. I just remember that moment. I was like, I see where we are. Yeah.
It is Erica.
That's true. That's very true.
So that wraps up our Instagram questions. I'm going to need more from you guys next time. We need a better turnout. Unacceptable behavior. Did you like your meme?
I'm sorry?
Did you like your meme, the Pirates of the Caribbean?
Oh, yes. I don't really want to ask where you got those pictures. I'm a little concerned.
I had to do some stalking. Don't worry about it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No.
But it wasn't. It was like, yes, it was for professional reasons because, you know.
Right. Totally.
Right. Actually, one of them was from the taco ball video, which now I have a reason to plug that into the video here for everyone to see. So there we go.
Nervous when I saw it was like Shannon Hyde tagged you. I was like, oh no.
No, I wouldn't just post that.
Oh God. Okay, yeah. No, I'll take the Caribbean over Taco Ball for sure.
Yeah, Taco Ball. Everyone just watched it anyways, which is okay.
Okay.
Or maybe I'll cut it. I'll decide later. We can talk about it.
Okay, all right.
Maybe if you get some merch, then we'll talk about
it. Oh, okay.
That's okay. So that's it's going to wrap up this episode of The Shannon Show. I hope all you guys enjoyed. Make sure to follow The Shannon Show on Instagram. Big thank you to Makaela for joining the show. Very clutch. I hope to stay in touch and look forward to seeing you guys next week.